I feel truly blessed. Padma Bhushan, Padma Shri, Dr. Devi Shetty, a cardiac surgeon. He's written the foreword so beautifully. May I request, sir?
So this is, first of all, an outstanding idea to write about not the usual star list of people known to everybody, but as one of the panelists said, everybody in their life has gone through something, and Leo Tolstoy said, every family is unhappy in their own way. So never lift the lid of a house of any family. You'll find challenges, but how does each family deal with this? And it's amazing that in this book, when Yogita talked about Vandana, you won't believe it. That's the only 2 pages I've crossed into this. And I'm going to read out her words of wisdom, which you will see yourself. But they're so important. And she says that life is a combination of good and bad, happiness and sorrow. It's true for all of us. So when you're faced with difficulties, remember that it's a temporary phase, rich or poor, everyone has problems. You know, money doesn't buy you happiness, as they say, but the cynic says it's easier to cry in a Mercedes than on a bicycle. But that's a cynic. We are not all cynics here. Tolerance is a quality that can take us through any challenge. So try to increase your tolerance. Your problems will become smaller. You know, when I was growing up as a 12-year-old, my father gave me a little diary. On each page was a saying. And the one which stayed with me for a long time was, I had no shoes and complained till I saw a man who had no legs. So relatively, each one of us a problem, but somebody else has got much bigger problems. So life is precious, and it's up to us to make it. Believe that you can, and never, never, never give up. So perseverance is really the most important thing. Each one of us has a story which we can tell where we faced a problem and you thought you're the only one in the world facing a similar problem. You looked around and you found that others had bigger problems. You know, a psychologist called a bunch of his patients, and this was Christmas time, and he had a Christmas tree in the center of the room, and he said, each one of you throw your problems into the Christmas tree and they'll go away. So of course, all these patients in their mind threw the problems away. And he said, now my gift for you from the Christmas tree is, pick anybody else's problem you think is less than yours and you take it away. Guess what? Each one finally took their own problem back because they found that everybody else's problem was unique, different and worse than what they had. So out of these 15 stories, it's a unique example of how ordinary people, and I say ordinary people, they're actually extraordinary people, have faced challenges in their life, how they have actually achieved and succeeded over it. You know, as you say, you're supposed to climb mountains, not carry them on your head. So between you and me is, you know, really ordinary people with extraordinary lives, but it's actually an intimate story. And I think each one of you, and I must compliment the panelists here, who've actually shared with us their own stories, their own perspectives, how they've overcome these. So it's a great motivation, and I would recommend each of you to read this book, Aparna, cover to cover. Thank you for inviting me for being here.
Adil?
Thank you very much for saying all those nice things about me, and sometimes I wonder all of that is true or not. A very beautiful quote I read many moons ago, and which has stuck by me. It says, मुख्तसर सी जिंदगी के बस यही अफसाने हैं, यहाँ तीर भी चलाना है और परिंदों को भी बचाना है. What a balance. We have to continue to live a life with all its challenges, with all the troubles, and yet at the same time try and find a balance in trying to do the same in an inspirational way. तीर भी चलाना है और परिंदों को भी बचाना है. Thus they say that inspirational centeredness is the quintessence of inspirational leadership. It's very strange that whenever we talk about inspirational leadership, we try to start looking at stories from mythology, stories from history, stories from literature, unusual successes. We keep looking at the frozen tracks of life to seek inspiration from where we can draw energy to face our challenges. But the real life that we live are not on the frozen tracks, but on the breathing tracks of life. where you and I live, where you and I work, where the challenges of your organization is what we face. It is on those breathing tracks of life that the real inspirational leadership and the challenge is what we are looking out for. This book, therefore, to that extent, thank you very much, is that wonderful book which is talking about 15 people from the breathing tracks of life, who are living like you and me, who are breathing like you and me, who are facing demonetization like you and me, who are facing all the challenges like you and me, and yet are able to find an inspirational source from where they can draw their energy to be able to face those challenges. And the idea is, I remember a long time ago when I was attending my advanced management program at the Wharton Business School, and the first opening challenge always is some easy exercise to do the ice breaking. So we were told that use your name to give an inspirational message on leadership, and we had to break our heads and try and do some jugglery pokery to try and find that out. Coincidentally, I picked up this one, and which lived with me thereafter, that most aspirational leaders inspire action. That stands for my name. Most aspirational leaders inspire action. And unless and until you as a leader are creating more leaders and not more followers, and that is one of your most important signs, don't create more followers and believe that because you have 500 people following you in your department, you are a great leader. A great leader is one who is able to, from those 500, create more and more leaders, inspire them to prove, inspire them to come out and give the best as the leadership, is the success of your test as a leader. And therefore, your job is not to do the action, your job is to inspire action. And these stories that we are talking about are stories of people like you and me, who are living on the breathing tracks of life and not the frozen tracks of life, and from where you can draw your energy. Tons and tons of management leadership has confused the concept between effective leadership and inspirational leadership, thoroughly confused. Effective leaders are those who succeed in achieving their goals, and their job is only about how do I supply external motivation to people who are facing challenges and adversities to tide over the problems. And therefore my leadership is about how do I provide the supply chain of external motivators for people to be able to tide over the actions that are hit by adversities. Inspiring leaders draw upon the people, influence them to use the internal energies to believe in themselves through that internal source of spiritual power, to be able to then drive such that no amount of external adversity can stop them from achieving what they have to do. I can go on and on and on, but that's not the occasion. I'm not taking a session on inspirational leadership, but to say that it's one of the nicest books that I have read because it is talking about ordinary people. It is not talking about Julius Caesar. It is not talking about Alexander the Great. It is not talking about Shivaji. It is talking about people like you and me, who we meet in on the roads, in the trains, while seeing a movie, working in your organization, facing a challenge like you are facing, and yet finding a solution which is inspirational. It is about that story. And therefore I would say it's a book worth reading. You should read it. Don't look upon it for anything else. But what I loved in the book, Aparna, was that along with the story, there are those cull-out lessons, which makes life very easy for the people who are reading on the run most of the books. Thank you very much. I wish you good luck.